What's up, Taiwan? I'm Erika Liu with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. U.S. presidential candidates Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are hitting the campaign trail nonstop in the final days before the vote, looking to celebrities to help energize their base. Chris Gorin brings us this report.
With just over a week before the U.S. presidential election, and with polls showing the two candidates neck and neck, both are campaigning hard in swing states to motivate their supporters to cast their ballots.
9 days. 9 days left in one of the most consequential elections of our lifetime. And we know this is going to be a tight race until the very end.
Next Tuesday, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala Harris that you've done a terrible job. Kamala, you're fired. Get out, get out. You're fired.
In these final days, both candidates are leaning on star power at their rallies to get people excited. For Harris, that includes former President and First Lady Barack and Michelle Obama, as well as pop superstar Beyoncé. While for Trump, that has included appearances with popular podcaster Joe Rogan, as well as rally speeches from right-wing media star Tucker Carlson and the world's richest man Elon Musk, who has donated at least $132 million to Trump-allied groups. The weekend also saw controversy stemming from comments made by a comedian during a Trump rally in New York City.
There's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
The Trump campaign later disavowed the remarks, but the demeaning comments about the U.S. territory saw backlash from Puerto Rican pop star Ricky Martin. Harris had the previous day made a campaign stop at a Puerto Rican restaurant in Philadelphia, and she later released a video outlining her plan for Puerto Rico, which was shared by Martin along with fellow Puerto Rican celebrities Jennifer Lopez and Bad Bunny. Meanwhile, election officials in that critical swing state sought to reassure voters that the vote counting process will be transparent and accurate, amid concerns about voter fraud through mail-in ballots.
So that's the message that we want to come out here. Everything is simple, safe, and secure. But again, we want you to use the process. We want you to feel confident to vote.
As Election Day nears, both sides are doing all they can to ramp up their appeal and energize their voters in a contest that's anything but predictable. Eason Chen and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's military is carrying out week-long exercises aimed at testing its combat readiness. Military vehicles and tanks were seen leaving a base in Kaohsiung in the south of the country. These drills, called the Changtai exercises, split Army units into attacking and defending forces. All three service branches were set to begin exercises on Monday, but an approaching tropical storm means the Air Force's drills will be postponed by a week. Taiwan's Defense Ministry is reporting 22 Chinese military aircraft operating around the country since Sunday. Of those planes, 17 breached Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, or ADIZ. This airspace is not part of Taiwan's territory, but the military uses it for security purposes. The increased activity comes just a day after Beijing said it would take countermeasures in response to a $2 billion arms sale to Taipei. The U.S. arms sale includes an advanced air defense missile system called NASAMS. To find out what Beijing means when it says it'll take countermeasures for the arms deal, Jaime Ocon spoke to Ben Lewis. He's the co-founder of PLA Tracker, an organization that tracks military activity around Taiwan.
Now, Ben, China's foreign ministry said it was going to take countermeasures against the U.S. After it sold this air defense system to Taiwan. And on Monday morning, we see the defense ministry here in Taiwan reporting 22 Chinese planes around the country. Are these planes part of that countermeasure?
I think it's very likely, yes. I mean, I think countermeasures has kind of become a widely encompassing term for gray zone military activity, economic coercion, sanctions on U.S. companies, individuals who are providing arms to Taiwan. So I do think this is part of it, and I think it's not going to be the last thing we see.
Now, last week, the United States announced to be selling Taiwan this $2 billion arms sale package deal with the NASAMS anti-air system, as well as radar equipment. How significant is this arms sale to Taiwan?
These weapons are very significant. I mean, NASAMS, is a powerful capability. It has been combat tested in Ukraine. It's something that Taiwan needs in terms of bolstering its air defense. One thing we've learned from Joint Sword 2024B, PLA conducts a massive air exercise. Best way to counter that is to have good air defense. And the radars you get with that are going to help Taiwan better monitor the situation. So the concern that a lot of analysts have had is that the MND does not have enough capabilities to fully capture the air and maritime domain. I think, additional radars is going to relieve that burden. And the missiles that you get with it are powerful capabilities.
And in terms of overall military activity from China, what are we seeing? Is there a clear increase in military ships and planes around Taiwan that we're seeing?
I mean, we've completely eclipsed the record of activity that was set in 2022. We had 1,738 incursions total in 2022. It's now towards the end of October. We're at 800 more incursions than that. And basically what that equates to is just the intensity of China's course of activity in the gray zone, surrounding Taiwan, in the air and on the water, is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this. And most of it has happened since May, when President Lai was inaugurated. So it's a clear coercive campaign by Beijing targeting the Lai administration, attempting to weaken Taiwan's defenses through attrition. Likely it's going to continue, and I think it has very dire consequences for the region in terms of the precedent that it's setting.
That was Ben Lewis, co-founder of PLA Tracker. NGOs are concerned about a new short-term care plan in Taiwan that would let eligible families and groups hire migrant workers as caregivers. The government has been stressing its plans for Taiwan's future long-term care needs. This plan is aimed more at helping those who only need temporary assistance. But some NGOs see a possible diversion of resources, hampering efforts to make long-term care a public service. They also worry about the consequences of letting migrant workers, Taiwan's main long-term caregivers, into short-term care as well. Concerns range from a loss of jobs for local workers to exploitation.
移工跟本劳的那个劳动条件呢是移工多了1.8倍，那薪资呢本劳呢却少了1.2倍，那其实就是不是同工同酬。
Taiwan's labor ministry says it will work to ensure migrant workers are looked after under the new system. Japanese voters have stripped the long-ruling Liberal Democratic Party of its majority. This bruising defeat leaves Prime Minister Ishiba Shigeru in a tough position just weeks after taking office. John Mentriest reports.
Across Japan, election workers spent Sunday counting ballots in a snap election. Prime Minister Ishiba Shigeru, now barely a month in office, called the vote in the hopes of a strong mandate. But as the votes were tallied, it became clear the move had backfired. His Liberal Democratic Party, a party that's ruled Japan almost without interruption since the 1950s, lost its majority. On the streets of Tokyo, there was some surprise.
やっぱ自民党って日本でいうとなんだかんだ言ってもこうなんか占めてるイメージだったので、ってちょっと思いました。
But also a recognition that scandals, most recently over ties to the Unification Church and political kickbacks, had worn out voters' patience.
裏金問題が今になったことを聞いているというところが、今回敗因の大きなところではないかと。
Ishiba himself says he knew the fight would be a tough one.
ここに至るまでは相当に厳しいねと思いますし、それは選挙の途中というかな、半ばぐらいからこれは相当きついねということは実感はしてましたね。
But the fight ahead may be even tougher. The Liberal Democratic Party and its junior partner, the Komeito, now have just 215 seats, 18 short of a majority. Ishiba must now either try to form a wider coalition, one in which his party will be in a weaker position, or rule as a minority government. Both options are potentially risky. But while the opposition says stripping the Liberal Democratic Party of its majority was a major goal, it's not exactly celebrating. It's made up of a range of parties of different sizes and ideologies, and they'll need to stick together. Even the biggest, the Constitutional Democratic Party, is 85 short of a majority.
まだ初めの一歩だと、これから大変だと思ってます。ですからあまりもともとあまり笑顔は出る方じゃないですけど、むしろ気が引き締まってきた緊張感があるということです。
All this adds up to an unusual period of weakness for a party used to calling the shots, and more political uncertainty ahead for the world's fourth biggest economy. Kama Shu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Indonesia is working towards becoming a regional hub for electric vehicle production after Southeast Asia's first battery plant opened in the country. The plan is being aided by government initiatives and supported by key EV brands. But as Rosie Greninger reports, it also faces some challenges.
These robotic arms are assembling nickel-based battery cells in West Java at Indonesia's inaugural electric vehicle battery plant. The state-of-the-art factory is the first of its kind in Southeast Asia, built by Hyundai and LG as part of a joint venture investment with Indonesia. Most of these batteries will be shipped to Hyundai subsidiaries in South Korea and India, but Indonesia is looking to build on the investment to become a regional EV hub and boost the economy.
Bright outlook. It's getting bigger and bigger, the electric vehicle market. And then in Southeast Asia, this is the first and only cell manufacturing. And the Indonesian government, this factory and ecosystem is very important in Indonesia's future.
When the plant opened in July, then President Joko Widodo said such investments would make Indonesia an important player in the supply chain. Since then, the government has unveiled incentives to boost their EV market, including a luxury goods tax exemption to lure automakers to Indonesia. Electric vehicle companies can avoid paying import duties until 2025 if they commit to building facilities and producing as many cars as they import by the end of 2027. The initiative has boosted sales by 35% in the period between January and August of 2024, compared with the same period last year. It's also seen a flurry of key brands enter Indonesia's market, including China's BYD and Vietnam's VinFast. These companies say Indonesia's demographic resources and strategic maritime position make it a suitable centre for electric vehicle development.
Dari sisi production base, manufacturing. Nah, ini memberikan nilai tambah. Rasa saya pemerintah punya satu bargaining point yang baik dengan market sebesar ini. Dia akan mempersilahkan pelaku-pelaku industri tertentu untuk mengembangkan marketnya di Indonesia, namun juga harus memikirkan nilai tambah kepada negara. Nah, manufacturing base yang mereka canangkan itu sangat baik ya. Dan pelaku industri yang siap itu yang bisa menjawab tantangan itu.
And being one of the biggest EV markets in Southeast Asia, the potential for products to be built in Indonesia is welcome news to residents.
Saya sendiri maupun kawan-kawan yang memang sudah mulai care terhadap lingkungan, maka merupakan pilihan bagi kami untuk ikut berpartisipasi dalam melestarikan lingkungan dengan menggunakan mobil listrik. Di sisi lain memang setelah dihitung-hitung, menggunakan mobil listrik ini memang banyak efisiensinya, banyak keuntungannya.
Indonesia faces stiff competition in the race to become a regional hub from other players, including India, Thailand and Vietnam. The country hopes boasting the world's largest nickel reserve will set them apart. But energy analysts say Indonesia still faces a battle to become a self-functioning EV centre due to its lack of related industries, with smaller capability to process and refine nickel batteries. There are also environmental concerns, with nickel mining one of the key drivers of deforestation in Indonesia.
There has been a lot of negative coverage on Indonesia's nickel products because oftentimes there's a lot of compromises in environmental, social and governance standards. So this means that moving forward, if Indonesia wants to be relevant in the global value chain, it needs to raise the standards. Otherwise, it will be left out. And keep in mind that there's a lot of other competitors as well.
These challenges the government is yet to overcome. But for now, production is booming in the country's first EV battery plant. And with demand currently growing, Indonesia is pushing forward with plans to transform into a regional hub. Alex Chen and Rosie Greninger for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally, spice up your night with these images of the World Salsa Festival in Cali, Colombia. I'm Erika Liu. Take care and see you next time.